I have a financial riddle for you today.
Okay, I'm ready.
And I have to be honest, when I first saw the numbers in our source material, I thought there had to be a typo. Like, it just didn't make any sense.
I love a riddle that breaks the math. Let's hear it.
Okay, so picture two people. Let's call them person A and person B.
Okay.
Person A is earning $128,000 a year. A solid six-figure income. Very respectable.
Right.
Then we have person B, former classmate, same age, same background. But they're earning $96,000 a year. So that's over $30,000 less.
Okay, so a pretty significant income gap. Person A is, at least on paper, way ahead.
A huge gap. But here's the kicker. Person A, the high earner, is basically living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh.
They're driving a beat-up car, they have next to no savings, and they are just constantly stressed about money. Meanwhile, person B, the one earning way less, is buying a home, traveling, and has this massive investment portfolio growing. How is that even possible?
It sounds like a trick question. Or, maybe person A has some secret, very expensive hobby.
Right.
But actually, what you're describing is one of the most significant yet invisible economic realities of our time.
Yeah.
It's not about spending habits, and it's not about bad luck.
So what is it?
It's what economists and sociologists are starting to call the geography trap.
The geography trap. Okay, let's unpack this. Because today's deep dive is all about exploring how where you sleep at night acts as this invisible multiplier or destroyer of your wealth.
Exactly.
And I have to say, going through this research, it felt like a total wake-up call. I think a lot of us feel like we're running on a treadmill, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a raise, you get a promotion, but you don't actually feel any richer.
And that feeling isn't in your head.
Mm-hmm.
It is structural. The mission for this deep dive is to look at how location determines the actual power of your dollar. We're going to look at domestic moves, international arbitrage.
And the compound math that just changes everything over 20 years.
That's where it gets really wild.
Let's get into the specific story that kicked this whole discussion off. The tale of two earners, Marcus and Jordan. And I want to start with Marcus because I think a lot of people are going to identify with him.
Marcus is a classic case study.
Wow.
He represents a very specific demographic of the struggling high earner. He's a product engineer living in San Jose, California.
Right. The heart of Silicon Valley. The dream location for anyone in tech.
And he's 7 years into his career, working for a reputable company. He's doing everything right by the traditional playbook. And he's earning that $128,000 a year.
Which, on paper, sounds like you've absolutely made it. If you told someone 20 years ago you'd be making $128K, they'd assume you were, I don't know, driving a Porsche.
You would think. But let's look at his reality. He lives in a one-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
It's cramped, the walls are thin, the appliances are from the 90s, and the rent is $3,600 a month.
Wait, say that again? $3,600.
$3,600.
For a one-bedroom. That hurts to hear.
And it gets worse when you factor in the hidden costs. The parking is a nightmare, so maybe he's paying extra for a dedicated spot.
Yeah.
When you do the math, over $43,000 of his pre-tax income is just vanishing.
43 grand.
Just to have a roof over his head.
That's an entire annual salary for some people. Just gone to a
Right.
landlord.
And that's before the government takes its share. So after federal taxes, California's high state taxes, payroll deductions, his take-home pay is roughly $87,000.
Okay.
And half of that is gone immediately to rent.
Right.
Then you have gas, which is notoriously expensive in California, groceries, insurance, just the cost of existing in a high-density hub.
So what's he actually putting away? What is he building?
At the end of the month, Marcus manages to save about $300.
300.
Maybe $500 on a really good month where he doesn't go out. Some months, it's nothing.
That is terrifying. He's earning $128,000 and saving $300. It sounds less like success and more like a prison. People talk about golden handcuffs, but this feels different. This is like geography handcuffs.
That's a great way to put it. Real golden handcuffs keep you at a company.
Right, for stock options or something.
Yeah. Geography handcuffs keep you in a zip code. You're terrified to leave San Jose because you think that's where the money is, but the zip code itself is eating the money before it even hits your bank account.
It's the illusion of wealth without any of the substance. Okay, so now let's flip the script. Let's talk about his classmate, Jordan, because this is where it gets crazy.
So Jordan took a completely different path. He took a job in data analytics, but he moved to Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, so he left the coastal hub.
And he earns $96,000. So, again, significantly less than Marcus.
A $30,000 pay cut, basically.
But let's look at his lifestyle. He rents a 2-bedroom apartment, more space, probably has a balcony, for $1,350 a month.
That is less than half of Marcus's rent, for twice the space.
Exactly. Plus, he pays lower state taxes, gas is cheaper, groceries are cheaper, a night out is cheaper.
So what's he saving?
When you tally it all up, Jordan isn't saving $300 a month. He is saving about $2,000 a month.
Wow. $2,000 a month. That's $24,000 a year in just savings.
And because of that, he has built up over $140,000 in investments. And crucially, he just bought his first home.
So Marcus is the high earner on LinkedIn, but Jordan is the one actually building a life.
It really hits you when you see it laid out like that. We tend to attribute wealth to, like, discipline or intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, they must be bad with money.
Right. But Marcus isn't buying luxury cars. He's driving a used Corolla. This isn't bad luck. It's just the math of the geography trap.
So let's break down the mechanics here, because you mentioned something earlier about the power of the dollar. I think most of us just assume a dollar is a dollar, but that's not really true, is it?
Not at all. In economics, there's this concept called purchasing power parity, or PPP.
Right.
And it basically means a dollar is elastic. It stretches or it shrinks based on your zip code.
So give us the spread. How bad is the shrinkage?
Well, looking at the data, expensive hubs like San Francisco and New York are roughly 75 to 85% more expensive than the national average. But then you have affordable hub cities like Indianapolis, Tulsa, Kansas City. They're 10 to 20% below the average.
So we're talking about a massive swing from one end to the other.
Huge. Let's translate a $100,000 salary to make it real.
Okay.
If you earn $100,000 in San Francisco, in terms of what you can actually buy, it functions like earning $55,000 in an average city.
Ouch. So you have the six-figure title, but you're living a $55,000 lifestyle.
You are. But if you take that same $100,000 to a cheaper city, it might function like $125,000.
It's the same job, same skills, same person.
But a completely different financial outcome.
So it's like moving cities is effectively giving yourself a massive raise or a massive pay cut without changing your job title.
That is the perfect way to think about it. You're giving yourself an immediate, tax-free raise.
But the immediate savings are, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? The part in the source material that really blew my mind was the long-term impact, the compounding.
This is where the trap becomes absolutely devastating. If we only look at the monthly budget, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But if we look at a 20-year horizon, it's life-altering.
Okay, let's run the numbers for Marcus and Jordan again, but fast forward 20 years.
Okay, so Marcus invests his $400 monthly surplus. Jordan invests his $2,000 monthly surplus. Let's assume they both just put it in simple index funds, get average market returns, say 8%.
Standard assumption, nothing fancy.
After 20 years, Marcus ends up with roughly $250,000.
Which is, it's not nothing. It's $250,000.
A nice cushion.
It's a cushion.
Yeah.
But Jordan,
Yeah.
Jordan ends up with over $1.1 million.
Whoa.
That is a gap of nearly $900,000.
Wait, hold on. Let me just process that. Almost $1 million difference just because of where they live?
Yes, and this is the critical part. That $900,000 gap wasn't because Jordan had a higher IQ or hustled harder or was some stock-picking genius.
Right.
It was created entirely by location. So what does this all mean for us? It feels like we've been sold a kind of lie about the whole big city dream.
Well, we have to look at history. For a long time, it wasn't a lie. It was just the price of admission. People flocked to cities like New York and San Francisco for the prestige, the ambition, the density of talent.
Sure, you had to be there. If you were in finance, you had to be in Manhattan, tech, the Bay Area.
Exactly. You put up with the high rent because that's where the opportunity was. It was a trade-off. You paid rent to be in the mix.
But something has shifted.
A massive shift. The career advantage of those cities has been collapsing for years. And obviously, remote work just accelerated that dramatically. A Stanford study shows nearly 30% of all paid workdays in the U.S. are now remote.
And it's not just small startups anymore. We're talking about giants, Google, Meta, Salesforce. They all have distributed teams now.
Which leads to a concept that I think is crucial. I call it the prestige tax.
The prestige tax. Okay, that sounds expensive. Break that down for me.
Think about it like a country club membership. In 2015, if you lived in Manhattan, you paid a massive premium in rent. But you got access to the club.
You could network at happy hours, bump into a venture capitalist at a coffee shop.
Right. The rent was your membership fee for that proximity.
Yeah.
You were paying for serendipity.
Paying to be in the room.
But today, if you're working remotely for one of those companies and you're still paying $4,000 a month for that apartment, You're paying the membership fee, but you aren't going to the club.
You're just sitting on Zoom in your living room.
That's it. You're paying for a localized network that you aren't even using because your team is scattered across 3 time zones anyway.
That is a painful way to look at it. And that's the trap. People stay because of the memory of why the city was important, not the current economic reality.
Exactly.
Okay, so staying in a high-cost city while working remotely is like setting money on fire. But this shift also opens the door to something, well, even more extreme. We talked about San Jose to Ohio. What about going global?
This is what some people call extreme geography arbitrage. And there are millions of professionals doing this right now, earning U.S. salaries, living in countries where the cost of living is just a fraction of the U.S.
The source listed some specific hubs: Lisbon, Mexico City, Medellin, Chiang Mai.
Da Nang, in Vietnam. Let's look at those numbers. In Lisbon, a comfortable lifestyle might cost you, say, $1,400 a month.
Yep.
In Mexico City, maybe $900. In Da Nang, you could live very well for $500 a month.
$500 a month, that's a car payment in the U.S.
So let's run a scenario. Someone earning $85,000 a year remotely. Not a crazy salary, but solid.
Sure.
After taxes, they take home maybe $5,300 a month. In a major U.S. city, after rent and bills, that person is saving very little, maybe breaking even.
Right.
But if they take that salary to a place where their total expenses are $1,300 a month, they are now saving $4,000 per month.
I have to pause you there, though, because I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, sure, on a spreadsheet, saving $4,000 a month in Vietnam sounds amazing, but what about the reality?
That's a fair pushback.
You're dealing with time zones, tax issues, visas. Is it really as simple as pack a laptop and go?
No, it is not a vacation. You're becoming an expat. You have to navigate visas, find reliable internet, and yeah, you might be working at 10:00 p.m. to match New York hours. You might feel lonely.
So you're trading financial stress for logistical stress.
In the short term, yes. But the math suggests the trade is worth it if you treat it as a strategic phase, a sprint.
A sprint, okay.
Imagine doing that for just 2 years.
2 years of logistical headaches. What's the payoff?
In 2 years, you could return to the U.S. with nearly $100,000 in cash.
$100,000. That's a down payment on a house in like 90% of America.
You've compressed a decade of saving into 24 months. It changes your life's trajectory. Financial independence isn't a 30-year grind anymore. It's a 10-year goal.
Which is so refreshing because usually getting rich quick means, risky crypto or some crazy startup. You're just saying it's math.
It's boring, unsexy math. Income minus expenses equals savings, and you've just slashed the expenses variable.
Okay, let's pivot to the decision-making here. Because even with the math staring us in the face, I can hear people saying, sure, but my life isn't a spreadsheet.
And that is a totally valid point. Humans are social creatures, not calculators.
I mean, you have family, you have community, you love your neighborhood coffee shop. Moving to Vietnam or even Ohio isn't a simple decision. You lose your network.
You are absolutely right. The goal of this deep dive isn't to force everyone to pack their bags. Life involves these soft factors: friends, culture, stability. Those things have immense value.
So if we aren't telling people to move, what are we telling them?
We are challenging them to move from inertia to conscious choice.
Explain that difference.
Most people drift. They graduate, they move to the big city because their friends did, they get an apartment they could barely afford, and they just stay. They normalize spending half their income on rent.
Right, they're on autopilot, paying the bill without ever looking at the receipt.
Yes. I want the listener to calculate the actual cost of staying. If living in New York is costing you an extra $40,000 a year in lost savings, you need to view that as a bill.
A literal bill. I like that.
You are writing a check for $40,000 every year for the privilege of living there. Now, for some people, the answer is yes, it's worth it to me. And that's fine. That's a conscious purchase.
But for a lot of people, if you showed them an actual invoice for $40,000 at the end of the year just for their zip code, they would be horrified.
They'd vomit. And that's the difference between strategy and drift.
So what's the framework? If someone is listening and thinking, oh God, I'm Marcus, what do they do?
4 steps. First, calculate the true cost, not just rent, taxes, gas, the price of a cocktail. What is the location premium you're paying?
Step 1, run the numbers, get the real price tag of your city.
Second, question the job. Is it truly location dependent?
Right.
A lot of people assume they have to be there, but they've never actually asked.
You never know if you don't ask.
Third, project the future. Don't look at this month, look at 10 years, 20 years. That gap, like with Marcus and Jordan, is usually shocking. You have to ask, do I want to be cool for the next 5 years or wealthy for the next 40?
That's the hard question. And fourth,
recognize that your location is not your identity. It's a variable. It's a line item in your financial equation.
And it's one of the few huge variables you could actually control.
Instantly. You can't cut Netflix subscriptions to save $40,000 a year. You can't stop drinking lattes to become a millionaire, but you can move.
It really is empowering when you think of it that way. It's not about deprivation, it's about allocation. Putting yourself in an environment where your effort it counts for more.
Exactly. 2 people, equal talent, equal discipline. One becomes wealthy, one struggles. The difference isn't effort, it's location. Your zip code is not fate, it is a choice.
Your zip code is not fate. That is a quote for the wall right there.
It's the truth. And every year you avoid making that choice consciously, you're paying a price you never actually agreed to.
Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. From San Jose to Ohio to Lisbon, we've looked at the massive gap between earning high and actually building wealth.
And we've hopefully shattered the illusion that a high salary guarantees financial security. It doesn't. Wealth is what you keep.
Absolutely. So here is the takeaway. If you are feeling stuck, if you feel like you're making good money but keeping none of it, stop looking at your coffee budget and start looking at your map.
Run the numbers for yourself. Check rent differences, tax differences, and ask yourself the hard question. Is the city you're in serving your future, or is it eating it?
I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Imagine if, every December 31st, your city sent you a literal invoice, a bill for the specific amount of wealth you lost that year by choosing to live there. If you opened that envelope and saw a bill for $35,000 or $50,000, would you still sign it? Or would you start packing?
That is the question.
Thank you so much for diving in with us today. As always, stay curious, run the math, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.